Path of Exile 2 has honestly been one of the best experiences I've had in a very long time. That doesn't mean the game is honestly perfect. What that's telling me though is the foundation for this game is pretty much solid, and what we're going to get in the future is going to be even better, especially according to this patch that's coming up right here. Do I think the game is too hard? No. I think you should get good, read the skills, and learn to play. The thing is, though, a lot of people are trying to treat this game like PoE 1, thinking they're just going to waltz through it and then burn through the campaign and then get into maps. That's not how this game rolls. It honestly feels more like original Diablo 2 than anything else. But that doesn't mean the game is perfect. There have been some changes here that I think are going to be really important moving forward. And really, one of those big changes right here is dodge roll. A lot of players have expressed frustration about being trapped in by monsters. I've had that happen quite a bit. In fact, one of the big things that I've done with my Grenadier is focus more on crowd control, stunning, blinding, and or shocking to then get around via the dodge roll mechanic and move that way. It's been pretty good so far, and finding ways of either increasing attack speed or increasing damage when I'm surrounded, I think is incredibly important. It feels like the game is more focused on crowd control rather than just burning enemies down and chunking them that way. But they continue by saying, well, it is intended for that monsters are able to trap and kill you. We felt that the frequency of this was a little bit too high, so player size is now set to 0 units while dodge rolling instead of 1 unit. So basically you're smaller when you dodge roll, which is really nice. Some smaller monsters can now be pushed while dodge rolling. This includes monsters such as the adorned beetles in Keth. This should result in getting trapped less often. I think that's going to be a good idea because there have been sections where monsters have pushed me out of the way, especially certain monsters that just rush through the screen and they push me across basically the entire screen there. And that's kind of wild to see happen, but it's not that bad. You can still be trapped though, just giving you a heads up. A player size of 0 can still not phase through monsters, but can get through even the smallest gap between them. So that's a good way of doing it. Gives us more ability to maneuver, get around it, and not feel like we're stuck in a perpetual loop motion. Phasing, in my opinion, is going to be one of the big things everybody's going to be looking for in this game, and I feel like it's going to be pretty much required for every single class, but let's keep going. Checkpoint changes. This is a big one. I think this is actually fantastic. They will be deploying the following change in the upcoming patch. Clicking on a checkpoint will allow you to teleport to other checkpoints in the area that are explored on your minimap. That's fantastic because there are really great ways of going through the map and finding small little details here and there, little bits of items or chests or things like that, or extra bonuses while you're playing the game. And then having to cross that entire map back and forth is kind of difficult. But hey, if you have the ability to go back and forth, say, oh, here's a part of the map that I missed, I want to checkpoint back to the boss, that's awesome too. They've been added to all entrances and exits of zones that will allow for teleportation. That's even better. That's even better. A checkpoint has been added to the midpoint of the first Dreadnought area. I think if they do that specifically, endpoint, midpoint, beginning point, and then anywhere else in between, whether mini boss or things like that, it'll just make life easier for everybody else. Seeing as how movement skills aren't really such a huge factor in this game, like Quicksilver Flasks or Flame Dashing or anything like that. This is going to be a better workaround than shrinking the map by 30%, which is what everybody wants. I want a good, expansive map to explore and feel like I'm doing things, but this is going to be a nice in-between balance for that, in my opinion. Item changes. One of the major problems players have been experiencing is feeling that game is not rewarding enough. I've been kind of back and forth on this, honestly. I have gotten incredibly excited getting Jeweler's Orbs back to back. Little things like that feel really good. It honestly feels like, oh, this is an actual item that I need. I got a Vol Orb yesterday and I was like, oh, a Vol Orb. Like, it just, people want rares to drop more often, but I've been more excited about currency dropping more than anything else, especially. I've gotten about a couple of uniques to about 3 so far in the first couple of acts. They definitely want to go ahead and be careful adjusting this because they don't want to reduce drops if they increase them by too much. So rare monsters were not rewarding enough, which I can understand because rare monsters are actually tough to fight, which is really good. This didn't affect the campaign as much because there are more unique bosses, but here's what they've decided overall. We've deployed the following changes. Rarity bonus per rare mod has been doubled, which is great. There is a 10% quality bonus per rare mod. Increase the chance of rare monsters inherently having more modifiers as you progress through the end game. So yeah, having a bonus per rare mod being doubled is great. Having a quant bonus per rare mod is also fantastic, but that also means your rare mods on rare enemies are going to be a lot tougher. This will cause rare monster rewards to naturally scale up as you get to higher levels because of the number of rare mods, which is great. My only concern is, though, will the rare modifiers on mods be a little bit too much and be a little bit too difficult to take down? And then will the reward not scale with the difficulty of the modifiers on the rare mob? That's my concern right now. Forms of map juicing indirectly cause rare monsters to have mods as well, increasing the rewards. These are the mechanics too. Also note the change below. Make sure that each map is a minimum number of rares will also increase the average number of rare mods and increasing drops further. So it does seem like a really smart way of doing it. My only concern is, will we get a rare mob that is just juiced to the gills, harder than the actual map boss you're going to be fighting, and then just not worth trying to engage in the first place because the fight you're going to get compared to the reward you're going to get may not scale correctly. That's sort of my concern. That was a big issue back in PoE 1 for a while too, with one of the leagues. I forgot which was. I think it was Kalandra, where rare mobs were just like super difficult to kill. People just like walked right past them because they weren't worth the fight. Currency exchanges. Players are not getting enough certain currency either early game to sustain adding mods to maps. So here's the thing I've noticed too. Earlier in the game during Act 1 and Act 2, I rarely ever wanted to use currency. I think increasing it in those early acts is going to be a good idea, but now I'm like flooded with regal orbs and things like that. But early game, I think experimenting to get the right gear for that is going to be a good thing. There is a bit of a over tuning right now. I think adding more currency is going to be the way for people to actually like, oh, here's a piece of armor, I can do this, that, I can just get it better, and then go from there, not worry about feeling like they're behind the curve. Regal Orb drop rates increased around 40%, which is great. Disenchanting of 6 mod rares to give 2 Regal Shards instead of 1. That's even better. Lesser Jeweler Orbs drop rates increased around 33%. That could explain the big bump in Jeweler's Orbs that I got the other day. They reduced the drop rate of Chaos Orbs slightly as they are less valued, and so it doesn't consume much of the rare currency drop pool. That's because currencies such as Exalted Orbs to increase somewhat. Exalted Orbs, in my opinion, are going to be the new standard currency. That's my opinion of what's going to be happening. Chaos Orbs are going to be good, but they're not going to be really worth what's going to be going on. Exalted Orbs are going to be, I think, the new baseline currency for a lot of people. Gem Cutter's Prism drop rates increased by 500%, which is great. I've only found 1 so far. Gem Cutter Prisms now increase quality on gems by 5% instead of 1%. Even better. So that'll be good. I only need 4 of them to get through, and I can get it for all my gems, which is really nice. Map mod changes have been changed as well. Rarity mods have been increased by 2.5. Quantity mods have an extra rarity added to them. This is now in a later patch. We removed the bottom tier of some mods. You're much more likely to roll modifiers that affect drops or pack size rather than less useful mods. Bigger the pack size, more mods, better the loot. That's basically what it's saying. It has been identified that some areas are not being affected by the increased number of monster packs mod as they should be. They'll be fixing that as well. Unlucky drop protection. No more than 50% of a unique monster drops can be gold, which is cool. Act bosses and map bosses will always drop at least 1 rare. That's so important. I was able to get a really good crossbow for my Merc because of the fact that it dropped a rare that gave me the actual implicit of what I needed. So nice job on that. Click to move only, no longer name locks, which is really important. There was an issue where move only command was name locking. This would often result in your character confusingly attacking in an unexpected direction while holding down this action. Mercenary is a perfect example of that. That really was a bunch of issues with that, so that's good on that end. Endgame maps, I haven't gotten there yet, but we will. Rare monsters now appear on the mini map where there are 200 monsters remaining instead of 50. That's really important because you need to kill every rare monster in the map to finish the map. So seeing their location there is really good when it's 200 and not 50, so you're not running around trying to waste time seeing where everybody is. Many maps have had additional rare monsters added to them to make sure that there are a minimum number of every map type. So it's good. Honestly, they're going to be putting this patch out. I think it's going to be coming up rather soon. This was posted yesterday, but I think these changes are honestly fantastic. Just being able to go through and have these modifiers and things happen to where the game is still difficult, to where the game still is rewarding with drops, but still provides you with a good way of doing it is honestly perfect. I feel like difficulty is tuned just fine. That could be because I'm playing Merc. I don't know how to get when I get to melee or other classes, but I'm very happy with this so far. So you know what? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of these patch notes. I think they'll be deployed rather quickly as well. I don't think they're going to be wasting time, even though there've been some hot fixes here and there. But if you want to see more kind of content like this, as well as more build guides coming up rather soon from my merc, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time.